How's it going, everyone? AFC Finners. We have made a trip to Hertfordshire to see Boreham Wood. As you can see behind me, they are playing Barnet, a bit of a derby today. I spending the weekend in London, so Tomaldo very kindly looked up fixtures for me and he found this one going on. So Boreham Wood, yeah, a very interesting non-league club. As you know, they came within a whisker of reaching the playoff final of the National League last season. It's not been the best start of the season for them, but hopefully they can kick on and move forwards. They obviously reached a lot of fame when they won the FA Cup a couple of seasons ago. Funnily enough, they have striker Tammy Abraham's brother. Long-term subscribers of mine may remember him as the star of the first ever episode of Ground to Ground. He was on trial at Cheltenham and scored twice in a 2-1 win over Kidderminster. Episode 1 of Ground to Ground, all the way back in, August 2021, over 2 years ago. So, yeah, about just over an hour before kickoff. Very excited, good to be back in London for a game. Also doing tour of Wembley on Monday. So, let's have a look around.
A bar. Very fancy.
Got Sheffield United against Everton on the telly. Boreham Wood, you've done well here. There's some mementos in the famous FA Cup run last year. I remember that game, the manager cried at the end of it.
Yeah. Got myself a Jameson's. Can't complain.
Okay, so I'm about to go inside, but before we do, let's find out a bit about today's hosts, Boreham Wood.
Boreham Wood were founded in 1948 as a merger of Boreham Wood Rovers and Royal Wood Tunes. They switched between various leagues before joining the Athenian League in the 1960s, achieving promotion to Division 1 in 1969, then to Premier Division the next season. In that decade, they would also move to their current home of Meadow Park. They would go on to join Division 1 for the Isthmian League, winning it in 1977. They remained in the Premier Division until 1982 when they were relegated, returned in 1995. 2 years later, they reached the second round of the FA Cup for the first time, also winning the Isthmian League Cup. They were relegated in 2000 and went back up the next season before a restructure of the non-league pyramid moved them to Southern Football League. They won the Division 1 East in 2006, also reaching the semi-finals of the FA Trophy, being the lowest ranked team to do so. They gained promotion to Premier Division of the Isthmian League. In 2010, they reached the playoffs, and a 2-0 win over Kingstonian in the final saw them playing in the National League system for the first ever time. Successful runs in the FA Cup continued, and in 2015, victory over Whitehawk in the playoff final promoted them from the National League South. Luke Garrard would take over later that year, becoming the youngest manager in the top 5 divisions of English football. Garrard guided them to a further FA Cup success as they defeated Football League Blackpool in the 17-18 season. A 4th place finish saw them qualify for the playoffs, but sadly they lost to Tranmere in the final. They reached them again in 2020, but lost to Harrogate in the semi-finals. They reached the 3rd round of the FA Cup in 2021, and the next season they would go even better. They knocked out AFC Wimbledon in the 3rd round of the FA Cup, and a shock 1-0 victory away to Championship side Bournemouth saw them through to the 5th round. Here they faced Everton, where the Toffees won 2-0. In the 22-23 campaign, they reached the playoffs again, became agonisingly short of a place at Wembley when Notts County sealed a dramatic 3-2 victory in the semi-finals. With Luke Garrard still at the helm, Boreham Wood hoped to bounce back, and one day finally achieve their dream of reaching the Football League. Overall, they have won 3 Isthmian League Division 1 titles, 1 Isthmian League Cup, 1 Southern League Division 1 East, 1 Athenian League Division 1, and 7 Hearts Senior Cups. And a bit of trivia, the club's stadium is around the corner from Elstree Studios, where movies such as Star Wars, 2001: A Space Odyssey, and Indiana Jones have been filmed. So those are our hosts, Boreham Wood. Let's have a look inside their home, Meadow Park.
Hey,
got a Boreham Wood fan here. Why don't you start by introducing yourself?
Brett Lewis.
Okay, nice to meet you, Brett. So I'm a groundhopper. So this is my first time at the stadium. To fellow groundhoppers such as myself, what can I expect? Thank you. What can they expect to find at Boreham Wood?
We expect to find at Boreham Wood. Hopefully a tense atmosphere. It's a local derby today, so I imagine it'll be. I can imagine it's a good game that you've picked. I hope. So I hope an entertaining game for you, and hopefully a home win.
Okay, really. It's been a very good couple of years for your club. You obviously had your FA Cup run, and last season you reached the semi-finals of the playoffs. You weren't far from Wembley at all, and it's clear around the stadium there's a lot of work in progress. What does the future hold for Boreham Wood?
Well, hopefully it's a bright future, but we shall see.
Good man, that's the spirit.
We'll go in the right way.
And finally, what is your prediction for today?
I think it's going to be a 1-0 win for Boreham Wood.
Excellent, nice optimism. Thank you, Brett, for your time. Another Boreham Wood fan here. He's told me he's been going here for 50 years. I'd just start by introducing yourself.
My name is Phil Jackson, Jacko Wood Army, that's it.
So obviously an incredible amount of memories you will have had in your time supporting Boreham Wood. What is your best memory?
Winning away to Bournemouth 1-0. I had us down to lose about 6-0, 7-0.
I had a feeling it might be that one. And you guys have had a very positive couple of years in terms of the FA Cup run and the playoffs. Do you feel you can get to Football League soon?
Next couple of years or so, yeah, definitely.
Good man, that's the spirit. And what can groundhoppers such as myself expect to find at Boreham Wood?
Our friendly supporters, can, yeah.
Well, and finally, your prediction for today?
10-0 Boreham Wood.
2-0, nice and optimistic. Let's hope we've proven right.
There's food options in case you're interested.
Hey, Boreham Wood, you've earned a point for food just for doing a veggie burger. Let's see if it's any good. Not bad, to be fair. Nice, crispy. Does the job. We're gonna score one more than you. Pin badge and a programme, 650 in total.
Regan Griffiths. And 21, again, now sponsored by GRC at Barnet and Borehamwood.
Midway through first half, it's quite tight at the moment. Bournemouth probably the slightly better side, but as it stands, it's a bit of a deadlock. Neither side looks like getting a breakthrough. Still 0-0. On is even at half time, which is a fair reflection. Neither side's really had anything concrete. The Bournemouth have defended valiantly, put their bodies on the line, but hopefully it'll be a better second half. There's just not quite with any spark out of the game yet, but last few times I've reckoned the game will be 0-0. It's turned out not to be. Let's hope we can not get a 0-0 today and keep the cycle going. But at half time it does stand as Boreham Wood 0, Barnet 0. With 15 minutes to go, the deadlock is broken. Unfortunately, Barnet take the lead. Corner swung in, looping header has gone into back in there. Limbs in the away end. It is the away side who make the breakthrough. 1-0 to Barnet.
Corner in stoppage time.
So that was Meadow Park, home of Boreham Wood. It's been a fun afternoon. It's a shame that Barnet did steal the 3 points, but at the end of the day, they did what they needed to do. They took the one major chance they had, and that's football. That's why they got the 3 points. Despite a disappointing result, it has still been a really fun afternoon. I'm really glad I came here. It was a long journey from where my elder brother lives in Hammersmith, but Boreham Wood, you did a good job, as you'll see in the ratings, and you gave my respect. You know, it's not easy getting that kind of fan base when there's so many big teams near you, but fair play, you've done a brilliant job. I've really enjoyed my time here. I wish you all the best for the rest of the season. Hopefully someday you can make it to the Football League. Thank you, Boreham Wood. Time to rate the experience.
So we'll start off as always with welcome, and amongst the clubs I've been to, I think Boreham Wood rank amongst the highest for this. It wasn't just the fans, the staff I spoke to was so happy to engage, and they went that little extra mile for you. They were all very helpful, and just saying little things like enjoy the game and safe journey home from them. It's only little, but it does just make you feel so much more comfortable. Those fans absolutely jumped at the chance for the interview. Sometimes it can be really difficult to interview fans, but it wasn't a problem at all. And they, told me about the club, made me feel right at home. It seemed delighted that the Groundhopper had chosen their stadium, so it was absolutely lovely. Such a good club bar as well. And in terms of staff, it's been the friendliest staff I've ever seen at a game. I've seen many friendly staff members, but just how polite they were, how they spoke to you, you just felt like a king attending it. And if you go there, I'm sure you'll see exactly what I mean. So fair play. They really go to a lot of effort to make you feel welcome. Reading the programme, it was like there was a lengthy thing from the chairman talking to the fans, sort of being very open and honest. And I think it's really important that people who own the football clubs can be open and honest, because he was saying things like, look, we'll do our best to achieve what we can, but we have a limited budget compared to other clubs. And that transparency, that honesty is really lost amongst a lot of clubs. So fair play to Boreham Wood for doing that. And by reading that, you immediately give an idea of what kind of club you are. So it's incredibly accommodating for supporters. I can't recommend it highly enough for that reason. So the welcome gets a 9 out of 10. Food and drink, I think they did the job they needed to. I was very pleased with the options they had, because you could get chips, they offered a veggie burger, they ask if you want onions and cheese. You can eat it if you're a vegan as well. So it's a thing that a lot of clubs don't do, but it's something I simply ask for. And fair play to Boreham Wood, you're very accommodating in terms of the food you have. And in the bar, there was an excellent array of drinks as well. So they've really put a lot of thought into food. The quality of the food itself wasn't like exactly anything incredible, but it did the job it needed to. Like, I ordered a burger, I didn't mind the burger. By eating it, my hunger was satisfied. That's all it needs to do, really. I think they've put thought into the array of options for food and drink. Not incredible quality, but it does exactly what you need it to do, so can't complain. I'll give the food and drink an 8 out of 10. Atmosphere, I liked the fact that it was, it was a local derby, but it never felt like really tense. You never felt like the fans are going to come to blows or anything like that, which I think is really important, because you do get so much hooliganism these days, unfortunately. But, there were a group of fans in the stand I stood in the second half chanting. They had their drums and all that, and they were singing throughout. Didn't really go flat, kept encouraging them when they were behind. And it was a very positive atmosphere as well, very encouraging. There wasn't any toxicity towards the players. It is very much a case of keep your head up, keep going, which I feel like I'm seeing more and more often now, and I really like that. So it was a really nice atmosphere to be amongst, and I think they generated the atmosphere that they needed to and sang throughout, so fair play to them. So I'll probably give the atmosphere a 7 out of 10. Stadium, it is a very nice ground. It's very well designed. Everywhere you sit has a good view, and I really like the fact that with my ticket you can just sit anywhere in the home end. It's unallocated seating, which I think is really fair game, because it's kind of everyone pays the same for a ticket and gets the same choices. So fair play, I think that's really good, because you can it's a case of rewarding. If people get there early, they think, I like that seat, I'll go for that one. So it's very well thought out, the stadium. I think they probably do need to do up the stand behind the goal that the away fans were in. The club bar as well, that was a superb club bar. The amount of attention to detail in that room, all the memorabilia they had, it really helped give the club an identity, and they made sure to savour their greatest moments from their incredible FA Cup runs. There's so much thought into that stadium. A lot of it is very modern, but not in a bad modern way. They've designed the stadium well, made sure to make it a good experience for fans. I'm sure there'll be more development going on in the future. Considering the attendances they get and where they've come from, they've done really good. So I'll probably give the stadium a 6.5 out of 10. And finally, value for money. Personally, I think £20 for a ticket for a National League game is probably a little bit too much. I think it should probably be about 15 quid. And some of the prices of food I also thought was a little bit more than it could have been. But neither of those prices were anything where I was outraged. And like the other things are fine. It was £6.50 combined for a programme and pin badge, which I was absolutely fine with. Even if it is a little bit more than you expect, you do still get a good experience for 20 quid you've paid. So I'll probably give the value for money a 7 out of 10. So that was Meadow Park, home of Boreham Wood. That was a ground I've always wanted to do, and it's great to have the opportunity to have done so. It was a long journey from West London, but definitely well worth it. And I think, this is probably somewhere up the top with my recommendations of places to visit for ground to ground. If you go to London, you can just get the tube, then the bus up to Hertfordshire. It works out really well, and you'll have a really nice day. There were definitely a lot of very committed and passionate Boreham Wood fans, which I really like to see. Fair play to them for sticking by their club through thick and thin. It must mean the absolute world to them to be in the National League, considering where they've come from. Let's hope they can keep rising. So, Boreham Wood, shame about the result, but you've really made me have an enjoyable experience and well worth the journey. Hopefully, when I'm in London in the future, I'll be able to come back to you soon. Let's hope you can put together yet another incredible FA Cup run. Thank you for watching. I've been AFC Finners. See you next time, and stick with us as we go ground to ground. AFC Finners out.